Pirate. Thank you for tuning in to the Rum Soaked Pirate tutorial part 2 of the vintage teapot. This is where we left off. Let's continue the rest of the process and then we should be able to end this. So click here, space bar. Okay, these parts here, guys, we can do them separately. Let's see how they look in the front. Let me just hide this for a minute. It doesn't specify if they're attached or not, but let's see if we can do this. In this case, I'm gonna show you guys another trick on this. You see the Z? If I right click object mode, I'm gonna select this. If I change symmetry to Z, I can just focus right here real quick for me while I pick on the top. Let's say I want to select right click faces. Actually, it should be a little bit higher and over a little bit. Yeah, let's click, shift double click. If you look at the top, it's selecting two sides for me. So what I'm gonna do, shift click, I'm gonna slide down to about here, double click, shift click, double click, click, shift click, shift click, double click. So to me that's pretty much in the middle. Actually, you know what, let me look at the top. So let's do something. Shift click, double click. That looks like the middle to me, but I don't want it that wide. Actually, let's leave it that wide, that's fine. And watch what happens. So what I do on one side happens to the other. So check this out. Command E, W. Oops. Okay, once we select these, let me make sure I got. Okay, we're gonna turn this off. And then we're gonna press W, shift click and drag up. You're gonna press R, we're gonna shrink this down, and what we're gonna do is, okay, once we're here, right click vertex, turn the Y on again, take these, why is it not doing what I wanted to do, or is it Z? Sorry, Z. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna shrink this. I'm going to press W and I'm going to push it back into space. Right around here. Okay. And then face, Command E, W, and bring it straight up. What we can do is take this, shrink it a little more. Because I have to make sure that's fine. Okay, so we did do there, we did two sides at once. Okay, instead of going crazy and guessing, we can even, if we want, take those vertexes and make them a bit shorter just to add our own flair to this. And take this group and tighten that up a little bit too so it angles up. Okay, so now we have one single piece. Guys, when you work with a single piece, you have to add edge loops, because watch what happens if I press 3. You see how that falls apart? Q1. So what you're gonna do is, you have edge, double click, shift double click, shift double click, shift double click, shift right click, bevel that edge. Okay, and then now, you know what, let's try something else. Let's leave this here for a minute. Shift double click, shift double click, shift double click, here, here. Every time you see that I select a whole group of ranges, that means that I'm double clicking, okay? So, oops. I'm just double clicking, guys. This should work to make sure that we get a strong bevel. Let's see if I'm correct. Yep. So I'm gonna get a decent bevel here. Just gonna add one more to make sure it's smooth. Stretch it out a bit. And we should be good to go. Now if I press 3 and 1, there's not really that much of a difference, okay? So we're done with that part. Right? Command S, like I always say, Command S. Okay, so here guys, we're gonna work with a new technique. Instead of me trying to build this by hand and going crazy, I'm gonna show you guys a trick. So what I'm gonna do is, this is it, yep. I'm gonna turn this off for a minute. I'm gonna create a curve tool, CV curve tool. So here we go. So with curve tools, you can, while you hold it down, you can manage it. So I'm gonna click it here. Click and drag it here. So you see I'm controlling it before I let it go, okay? I'm trying to stay as much as I can in the middle. Sometimes it's a bit hard, guys. Especially since it's a pixelated image, even though it's decent enough for me to work with. Snake right there, I know that's off. I try to make sure that I try to stay in the middle as much as I can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But again, I'm just trying to make sure that this works the way that I need it to. Okay, so that's good enough for me. What that does is it creates this line. You might wonder like, okay, but how does that help? Okay, I'll show you guys how that works. So with that selected, I'm gonna create sweep mesh. And I'm gonna change this to a rectangle. And this is how it works. I don't want it, I want it to be flat, nice and flat. What I'm doing is clicking and dragging here. And I don't need it to be so thick. Normally this stuff is not that thick. I think I am happy with that. I am gonna put a cap on it so it covers the holes and it's not just laying there. And I also want it to be a bit smoother than that, so I can bring this up and then I can optimize it so it uses little lines. Okay, once that's done, right click object mode. I'm gonna select everything, edit, delete all by type history, edit, delete by type non-deformer, modify, I'm gonna freeze, and I'm gonna center. So once I'm finished working with this one, I'm just gonna flip it over, so watch what happens. For some reason, this has to be a little bit more over. I want it right around there. And I'm gonna bevel the edges that I need. So right click, edge, double click, shift double, shift double, shift double. And I'm gonna select these four, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna come to the bottom. 1, 2, 2, 3, and 4. Shift right click, bevel edge. I should get that. Add a segment so it goes from 1 to 2 and shrink it. Right click object mode and Bob's your uncle. The cool part about this is once I'm done, if I click right here where it says mirror, don't click it because it's gonna give you the wrong direction. Go to mesh, mirror, click on the box and see the direction. So I want it in Z. Let's see if I did it correctly. Yep, that's fine. So if that ever happens, that's fine. And just as long as I duplicated it, you press Q, object mode, mesh separate, and then now you can take this one, modify center pivot, and you're gonna bring it over right here. Okay. Now you can combine them again if you want. You can leave them separate. In this case, it doesn't matter to me. They're fine. Now for the handle. My apologies, guys. I am a little bit under the weather, but I just want to make sure that I set this up for you guys. So let's continue. Make one of these. E, hold down J, click and rotate. W, center it as best as you can. Press R, shrink it, bring it down, zoom in, R. Okay, and here we're going to work again with the Z's. So I'm going to take a face, I'll press W, shift click and drag, R, Command EW, Command EW, R, Command EW, R, and finally Command EW and bring it to about here. Right click object mode, and now what we have to do is bevel our edges to make it smooth. So edge, bevel that edge, stretch that out, shift right click, bevel that edge. Here, okay, I'm gonna make these smaller. I noticed that they're too wide, and I'm gonna bevel those edges. So shift right click, bevel that edge, 1, 2, and I'm gonna leave that there. Object mode. So for some reason I think that this image is done incorrectly, because it shows that this goes straight into here, which is usually not the correct thing. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna press R, I'm gonna shrink these to inside of this, because I think that the screw should go through these and you should be able to swing that, and that doesn't show me that at all. Okay. Right click object mode. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, according to the way my throat is feeling, I might cut this one to just adding the screws. Let's see how it goes. Or adding these parts, and it's gonna be a bit weird with me screeching all over this, you know, the sound, guys. So yeah, I think let's just leave this here for now, guys. I will continue and finish it in another video. Again, I don't want to ruin you guys' tutorial by you scratching my throat and making it uncomfortable or weird to listen to. But thank you for tuning in again. I hope you have fun with this part of the tutorial. And as always, drink up me hearty yo ho. Command S, save it.